Hello and welcome. Tonight, the president visits Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. President Bola Tinubu commiserates with the Shehu of Borno, assures IDPs of the federal government's assistance. The United Arab Emirates donates 50 tons of food supplies to Nigeria. UAE ambassador to Nigeria, Salem Al-Shami, says the Emirates is committed to supporting nations during crisis and disasters. And Muslim faithful in Lagos join their counterparts around the world in Nigeria to celebrate Eid-el-Maulud and the birthday of Prophet Muhammad.
On business news tonight, Nigeria's headline inflation rate slows for the second consecutive month to 32.15% in August from 33.40% in July. And that's according to the latest report from the National Bureau of Statistics.
On sports news tonight, after a long wait, the independent hearing into Manchester City's alleged 115 breaches of English Premier League financial regulations finally begins in central London.
And from the nation's capital, Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal vows to deal with bandits and their leaders, promises results in the coming weeks.
And in international news from London, an apparent second attempt in 2 months on Donald Trump's life has led to questions about the safety of US presidential candidates.
President Bola Tinubu has visited Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, to commiserate with the government and the people of the state over the recent flood disaster. The president, who was accompanied by the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, Minister of Agriculture, Abubakar Kyari, and other government officials, headed straight to an emergency internally displaced persons camp, where he assured the displaced people of his government's commitment and support to them. Nigeria's #1 citizen then headed for the palace of the Shehu of Borno to sympathize with the monarch, again promising the federal government support for the people of Borno state.
For the people of Borno, Yobe, and other affected states, I say we will pull together a very good program for Nigeria to recover from this calamity and do better in the interest of our people. I've been thinking of how do we tackle this kind of a problem, whether it's climate change or any other means. But there must be a disaster relief fund for the victims.
Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu. Meanwhile, earlier today, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, had arrived Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, to sympathize with the government and those affected by the recent floods. While at the government house, IGP Egbetokun met with the governor of the state, Babagana Zulum, the Bauchi state governor, Bala Mohammed, and other dignitaries, expressing his sympathy on behalf of the Nigerian police force. He reaffirmed the force's commitment to providing adequate security for all residents. The IGP also promised to initiate the repair of damaged police facilities in the affected communities. Governor Zulum thanks the IGP for his support, commending his leadership qualities in piloting the affairs of the police. Nigeria's top cop later addressed officers and men of the command and harped on the need for professionalism and dedication to securing the people and the property of Borno state, even in the face of disaster. He encouraged them to assist the government in providing relief and restoring normalcy to the state. The senator representing Borno South local government area in the Senate, Senator Aline Dume, is appealing to the federal government to show empathy and make its presence felt in the aftermath of the Maiduguri flood, which has affected over 2 million people in the state metropolis and parts of Jere local government area. The appeal is coming after federal government agencies, NEMA and NEDC, embarked on an emergency distribution of relief materials. Several feeding centers have also been created to provide meals to these displaced people.
Since the outbreak of flood in Maiduguri metropolis and parts of Jere local government area, The state government has set up emergency camps and 27 feeding centers. Other agencies like the International Humanitarian Organization, civil society organizations, philanthropists and the military have actively engaged in search, rescue and evacuation of victims of the flood in inaccessible areas. The National Emergency Management Agency and the Northeast Development Commission have donated food and relief items while also feeding the affected persons. However, a federal lawmaker, Senator Ali Ndume, tours the affected areas in Maiduguri metropolis. He makes a call to the federal government.
The federal government, honestly, we have the scratch of what they are doing, but they need to intensify it to create a national, and this is a national disaster, not only a state disaster. And they should declare a kind of emergency on food and feeding. Food, feeding, and rescue. Because up to now, so many people are trapped. I got an information that even along Baga Road, because the Chad has been overflowing and it affected so many areas like Marti, around that Marti, around part of Mongono, and part of Baga itself has also been affected. And in fact, going down to Bubio, Gomboru, some localities or wards have been affected. So the federal government should honestly stand up to it because this is a matter of emergency.
Meanwhile, the National Emergency Management Agency has deployed personnel to affected areas for rescue operations.
The United Arab Emirates has donated 50 tons of food supplies to Nigeria, a gesture showing the Emirates' commitment to continuous humanitarian support to nations in need. The UAE ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Salem Al-Shamsi, while presenting the relief materials to officials of the National Emergency Management Agency at the cargo wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, expressed the Emirates' commitment to reinforcing humanitarian cooperation with the international community and to support nations during crises and disasters. The Director General of NEMA, Mrs. Zubeida Umar, said the relief materials will be immediately distributed to Borno and other states affected by floods. The Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Sokoto, Bishop Matthew Kuka, is not comfortable with the refusal of the People's Democratic Party in Edo State to sign the peace accord, stating that it sends a wrong signal that can be exploited by the opposition party. Speaking at a town hall meeting organized by Channels Television in partnership with the Kimpact Development Initiatives and the UK International Development in Abuja, Bishop Kuka noted that the National Peace Committee cannot compel any party to sign the accord, as it is not a law or an electoral act. He cited examples of former presidential aspirant Atiku Abubakar and the current president Bola Tinubu, who also did not sign similar peace agreements during their campaigns. Our correspondent Benny Ark reports.
In the election
This is a town hall meeting on the security arrangement for the Edo State governorship election slated for the 24th September 2024.
We are live in the city of Abuja.
The meeting, organized by Channels Television in partnership with Impact Development Initiative and UK International Development, brought together political parties, security agencies, civil society organizations and electoral officials to work towards a peaceful and credible poll. According to Impact Development Initiative, there have been recent surge in violence in Edo State, with 95 cases recorded from the 1st of January to 14th of September 2024. According to the group, a breakdown of the figures showed that the state recorded 16 non-electoral violence incidents and 35 electoral violence incidents.
Sportmanly people are supposed to be.
Then came the panel discussions.
So it brings us to the conversation on...
During the discussion, Bishop Kuka raised concerns about the refusal of the People's Democratic Party in Edo State to sign the peace accord.
The National Peace Committee, what we do is not in the Electoral Act. It's not law.
It's moral.
It's moral. By not signing, I mean, what happened in Edo we try the best we can, to ensure that if people have any anxieties, if they have issues and they approach the peace committee, we'll try to deal with those issues. That's why we are, the IG was, the IG is present, INEC is present. And as I said, it's a pity, but we don't, we're not going to take anybody to court for not signing the peace accord. The only thing it does to you as a candidate is that it sends the wrong signal, which can very easily be exploited by the opposition.
He also made a call to all stakeholders to ensure peace during the exercise.
The important thing that we say to Nigerians is you vote to stay alive. Our hope is that as more and more confidence is built around the peace committee and the little effort that we make, which is purely and simply a moral effort, to compel our people to be of good behavior.
In the video presentation, the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Eid-el-Maulud, emphasized the role of the police and non-involvement of quasi-security outfits.
We will be impartial, we will be professional, I will be vigilant while providing level playing ground for all the political parties and their candidates. Quasi-security organizations will not be allowed to take part in this election.
The representative of the police explains the reason for not allowing quasi-security agents.
Vigilantes and non-conventional security outfits are never part of the electoral process. And you can fact-check this. Look at all our elections. Our position have never changed. We have never altered. We've not done anything. The Inspector General of Police have not said anything or done anything that is out of the books. And politicians know this.
On the readiness of the police, there were some concerns.
The mere presence of police at polling booths or polling areas gives people that confidence. But unfortunately, because of the rhetorics, because of the threats by some politicians, which has an objective. The objective is to make sure many voters don't come out to vote.
When we talk about security, we think about the police. But the police actually are the last layer of security. If every other player in the security estate or in the electoral estate misbehave, you can't suddenly now say the police should perform magic. So what I think needs to happen is that a year before every election in any state, they should set up what I call election security committees in every state. That should include every stakeholder within the electoral estate, political parties, everybody. And their job is to have weekly meetings to assess activities within the election cycle.
Owing to the glitches experienced during the 2023 elections, a representative of the electoral umpire speaks on the preparedness of INEC for the exercise.
INEC has held a pair of standalone by-elections in which transmission into IREV was perfect, in which there were no records of beavers failing accreditation. So if you take care of the problem at that level, I think it is possible that Edo wouldn't be a repeat of any that you are referring to.
It's 6 days to the election, and these stakeholders are urging all parties involved to work towards a peaceful exercise. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
In part two, after the break, Muslim faithful in Lagos joined their counterparts across Nigeria and the world to celebrate Eid-el-Maulud, the birthday of Prophet Muhammad. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. The president visited Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. President Bola Tinubu commiserates with the Shehu of Borno, assures the IDPs of the federal government's assistance. The United Arab Emirates donates 50 tons of food supplies to Nigeria. UAE Ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Salem El-Shamsi, says the Emirates is committed to supporting the nation during crisis and disasters. And Muslim faithful in Lagos joined their counterparts across Nigeria and the world to celebrate Eid-el-Maulud, the birthday of Prophet Muhammad. An apparent second attempt in 2 months on Donald Trump's life has now led to questions about the safety of U.S. presidential candidates. The Governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, says the commitment made by the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, towards a peaceful governorship election is highly commendable. Mr. Obaseki reiterated the position of the People's Democratic Party on the peace accord signing, while admitting that most of the conditions have been met. He maintains that the detained PDP leaders are yet to be released from custody. He was speaking to journalists after a closed-door state caucus meeting of the PDP at the Government House in Benin City, the Edo State capital.
Pleased with the current utterances from the security agencies in Nigeria. We want to particularly appreciate the statement issued by the Inspector General of Police, making a commitment, to support the peace process, to ensure that there's a level playing field for all the players, and we endorse his efforts to draft a lot more men to Edo to support the elections on Saturday. We are also pleased with the preparations of INEC so far, and we have every reason to trust what the authorities of INEC have committed to. So we are going to the various wards and local governments to continue mobilizing our citizens to come out to support our candidate, who clearly stands high, heads and shoulders above, the other candidates in the race today. So we want to once again say that we're ready for these elections. We are hoping that when the courts resume tomorrow, all those people who have been detained in Abuja all these weeks will be released. If they are granted bail and they are allowed to come back home to their families to participate in the democratic process, then we'll consider signing the peace accord.
And still on the elections, a group of Edo citizens based outside Nigeria have asked the police, as well as the Nigeria's electoral umpire, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to uphold the tenets of democracy during Saturday's governorship election in Edo State. The diaspora group, who say they are supporting the Asueogie candidacy of the PDP, are appealing to those supervising the polls to ensure the safety of the electorate and provide a level playing field for all contesting political parties. The group made the call at the press briefing at the Asueogie campaign office in Benin City. The All Progressives Congress and its governorship and deputy governorship candidates in Edo State have continued to receive prayers and support from different groups towards achieving their goal of emerging winners in the September the 21st governorship election in the state. In the course of the APC campaign tour around Edo State earlier this month, 3 candidates from other parties and the chairman of 5 local political parties in Edo governorship race pledged to back the APC candidates' ambition. According to them, they believe they can help develop the state.
The APC campaign team's visit to the palace of the Okaiwu of Urunibe in Oriamo local government area gives it the opportunity to pay homage.
Because when we were children, our school, we have teachers, every subject have teachers, but today it's not the same.
The contributions of former Governor Adams Oshomole to the development of the community during his years in office are recognized, prompting the traditional ruler to accord him the title of Okaku of Urunibe. Prayer for success follows the party's request for support on election day. More support awaits the APC back in Benin City, where some political parties and 3 candidates lay their ambition aside as the roots for the APC candidates.
We members of the National Rescue Movement, including our candidate, Dr. Dennis Osaro, the APM candidate, Zene Labour Party, the Social Democratic Party, and the Action Democratic Party. Today, we have decided, therefore, that the Edo-Guba election coming on the 21st of September, we've decided to work together with the APC.
It does not end there, however. This volunteer group in Edo South Senatorial District also pledges to back the APC candidates.
This is not of us. That's why today we are supporting. The ancestors is already working in our blood. So continually support Apakomisa and his deputy.
Each declaration of support has drawn more commitment from the APC governorship and deputy governorship candidates that they would ensure they provide good governance if elected.
We'll continue the news at 10 as we head over to our Abuja studios now, where Victoria Longjohn is standing by to give us more. Hello, Victoria.
Hello, Anne. Muslim faithfuls in Lagos join their counterparts across Nigeria and the world to celebrate Eid-el-Maulud, the birthday of Prophet Muhammad. Organized by the Majimau Ababi Rasulillah Islamic Society, the Muslim faithful trooped out in their numbers to celebrate with a street procession, which takes them through the streets of Agege and Ikeja. Meanwhile, motorists in the nation's capital have expressed mixed feelings over the accessibility of petrol in the last few days as Nigerians begin to adjust to the new price regime of premium motor spirit following the agreement reached between the Dangote refinery and the Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited. While some have had it easy to access the product, others expressed their fears of the likelihood of another round of scarcity, even though they all lamented the exorbitant price of the product. Our correspondent, Dele Omoyeni, reports.
Residents of the nation's capital are coming to terms with the new price of the premium motor spirit. Following the statement by the NNPC Limited that its price will sell between 990 and 1,150 naira per litre as a result of the purchasing price from the Dangote refinery, motorists are calling on the federal government and the appropriate authorities to ensure the continued supply of petrol, as it will be double jeopardy to have to queue only to buy the products at high prices.
I don't even understand. Today you see the queue, tomorrow you will not see the queue. Whether they are trying to suffocate us, to put us into a state whereby we will not be begging, or they have a scheme they are really working on to just make us starve. I don't understand. I don't understand.
2 days, 3 days ago it was better, but today it has worsened. So almost virtually all the fuel stations are not selling. The government should just do everything that is possible for these things to disappear.
The queue was reduced for days, but only for, I think yesterday, we noticed that the queue is resurfacing again, which we don't know what is causing it. Because we believe that the fuel is available, it's expensive, and if the fuel is expensive, it should be available.
Some see the compressed natural gas as an alternative, while others have not heard about it.
The cost of even doing the CNG is high. We are talking of, in some places, it's over up to ₦1 million to install the CNG. And we heard that the government is subsidizing it. But I've not really seen any subsidy concerning the CNG. It's an alternative that is good, but if it's available, then people can diversify towards the CNG. The CNG, they are not available. The ones that are doing it, 950, 850,000. So it's still expensive. So if you can have subsidies on the CNG, it's a good alternative to work.
You can alternate it for fuel? Yeah. So I've not seen where they sell or dispatch it. I don't know. So have people started selling it?
At the moment, the NNPC Limited has confirmed that its trucks have started moving petrol from Dangote Refinery as its principal off-taker. Delia Moyeni, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria's headline inflation rate slows for the second consecutive month to 32.15% in August from 33.40% in July. That's according to the latest report from the National Bureau of Statistics. That's some business news. Two times again. Welcome back to the news at 10. The governor of Zamfara State, Dauda Lawal, believes consistent military onslaught on bandits is the solution to end their attacks and continuous existence in the nation's northern region. The governor assures that in no time other bandit leaders operating in the region will succumb to pressure from the military and other security agencies.
One of the most happiest person, considering what we're going through in Zamfara State as far as banditry is concerned. As you know, Halilu Sububu was one of the major kingpin in terms of bandits in Zamfara State and the northern part of the country. He controls a large chunk of bandits, full of money, well connected in terms of sourcing arms, and so on and so forth. And today, that guy is no more. The guys have done very well, the military and other security agencies. The whole of Zamfara now, and not just Zamfara, Sokoto as well as Katsina, Kebbi, and Niger, we're all happy and excited for what happened. It's a matter of time. Turji, very, very soon, with what we have in place, with the collaboration between us and the federal government, security agencies, believe me, it's a matter of time. Turji will be killed very, very soon. What we need to do is turn this pressure, military pressure. If we're able to sustain this within the next 2 weeks to 1 month, believe me, it will be a difference as far as banditry is concerned.
And that's it from Abuja. It's now back to you, Anne, for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you, Victoria. To other stories, the death toll from Sunday's road accident along Saminaka Road in Lere local government area of Kaduna State has risen to 24. And that's according to a statement by the sector commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps in Kaduna State, Commander of Kabiru Nabado, who said that 10 additional victims of that accident died at the hospital where they were receiving treatment. The Federal Road Safety Corps has early on Monday confirmed the death of 15 children from the accident, which occurred along the road while they were traveling to celebrate Eid-el-Maulud. According to the FRSC sector commander in Kaduna State, the J5 bus, with registration number NSL 08AA carrying 63 passengers, mostly children, lost control due to overspeeding and overloading, crashed into a DAP trailer, and then with the registration number DKA 454. The FRSC had reported the 15 children died on the spot, while 48 others sustained various degrees of injury. The newly promoted Assistant Inspector General of Police and former FCT Commissioner of Police, Mr. Benneth Igwe, has vowed to rid the nation's capital of criminals and ensure optimum security in the city. He stated this at the send-forth dinner organized in his honor by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike. Mr. Igwe has just assumed office as the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 7, comprising the Federal Capital Territory and Niger State.
I'm here in FCT at the AID Zone 7, in charge of FCT and Niger and operationally Kaduna and the auxiliary states. I promise to do my best to ensure the safety of FCT according to the minister's mind. It doesn't mean so to tell us. I want to inform Abuja residents. I am still around. I told the criminals yesterday or the day before yesterday was I am not moving anywhere. I'm around. And now that I have more powers, I don't know where you will run to. Now that I have more powers to do something, if you know where you want to pack and go, you better start now. So I want to assure the residents and people of FCT that you are in safe hand with the Minister of FCT.
On his part, the FCT minister asked him to continue with the spirit of service and not relent in carrying out his duties with dignity.
You worked relentlessly to keep FCT safe. I know, as the minister, the security reports I get every day. Even Nigerians, even FCT people know what you have put in place, the efforts you make to combat crime. So I thank you. And on behalf of FCT, you've done well. We must say thank you. And this place you are going, please continue with that spirit of serving your fatherland. Continue with that spirit that you must support this government in order to protect property, in order to protect our citizens.
Well, let's delve into the world of business. Dominic Iwewe is standing by to give us the figures on Nigeria's headline inflation rate.
Thank you, Anne. On business news, Nigeria's headline inflation rate has recorded another decline as it fell to 32.15% in August, in contrast to the 33.42% rate recorded in July. According to the latest report from the National Bureau of Statistics, the drop in the inflation rate, which is in line with the forecast by the economic think tank Financial Derivatives Company, represents a 1.25% fall on a month-on-month basis. However, it is 6.35 percentage points higher than the 25.80% rate recorded same month last year. Further analysis of the NBS report shows that food inflation rate for the month in review was lower at 37.52% against the 39.53% rate in July. Core inflation was higher at 27.58%. Urban inflation fell to 34.58%, while rural inflation rose to 39.95% month-on-month. Now, all attention is now centered on the CBN's Monetary Policy Committee meeting for the next line of action when they hold their two-day rates decision meeting next week. Young Nigerians, especially ones who have carved a niche for themselves through social media, are recognized as they receive the honorary Grand Oak Limited Lords Achievement Awards. Besides awarding the future icons, the event also celebrates the relaunch of the new design for the Lords London Dry Gin, an improved version with the new Guala cap and revamped label.
It all begins at the red carpet. It's an unusual event for the Lord's London Dry Gin, but one which would end with smiles on everyone's face. People from all walks of life have been invited by the Lord's London Dry Gin to be celebrated and honored for success in their various craft at this year's Grand Oak Limited Lords Achievers Awards.
I feel great. I feel very honored to be counted, to be part of this elite field. I also feel very encouraged to do more, so yeah.
Not a lot of people recognize spoken word as that mainstream act, but for Lord's Gin, the brand, to see such an exceptional talent and choose to recognize and celebrate it, I think is very humbling.
The night was also about the relaunch of the new look of the Lord's London Dry Gin. Representatives of the brand say the brand, apart from being associated with success, cares enough about the safety of its clientele.
Now, Lord's Dry Gin comes with a unique cap that we call the Guala cap that protects the drink for the sake of our consumers. Over the past 1 year, the innovation team has sat down to create, something that could, in the past few months, you have seen several broadcasts of counterfeiting and fake production. We've sat at the back and, worked so hard to see how can we circumvent all of this, So what Guala cap does is that it protects the content against any form of counterfeiting.
In the life of every brand, you come to that point where there's a need for you to make a new mark and just have that rebirth. And for Lord's London Dry Gin, now is that time. So our strategy as a company is to continue to produce world-class brands. And for us, this step into continuously reintroducing and rebranding ourselves is on the right path to that journey. And so for us, it's really about giving our consumers what they always ask for.
Lord's London Dry Gin is affordable. Its strong citrus and juniper notes help it stand out from other brands in the market.
And that's all on business news. Back to Anne for the rest of the news.
Welcome back. Ryan Wesley Routh, the 58-year-old suspect in the apparent assassination attempt of former U.S. President Donald Trump, has appeared before a court in Florida. Here's Simon Pusey with other international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. An apparent second attempt in 2 months on Donald Trump's life has led to questions about the safety of U.S. presidential candidates.
From the U.S., from North Carolina originally, so live in Hawaii now, so flew all the way from Hawaii here.
The suspect has been named as Ryan Wesley Routh, a 58-year-old living in Hawaii. Here, photos of the vehicle Ryan Routh was thought to be travelling away from the shooting in, pulled over by police. He was thought to be in shrubbery on the perimeter of Donald Trump's golf course when a Secret Service agent saw the barrel of a rifle sticking out from the bushes. An AK-47 style rifle, a GoPro camera and 2 backpacks were later found near where the suspect had been hiding. Here, video showing police diverting traffic in West Palm Beach, Florida, following the shooting. Mr. Trump was not injured during the incident, and shortly after he issued a statement which read, "There were gunshots in my vicinity, but before rumours start spiralling out of control, I wanted you to hear this first. I am safe and well."
Fortunately, we were able to locate a witness that came to us and said, "Hey, I saw the guy running out of the bushes. He jumped into a black Nissan, and I took a picture of the vehicle and the tag," which was great. We got a hold of Martin County Sheriff's Office, alerted them, and they spotted the vehicle and pulled it over.
The UN's most senior official overseeing aid and reconstruction in Gaza says that the international community is collectively failing innocent civilians in the territory. Sigrid Kaag, who was appointed 9 months ago to improve the delivery of urgently needed aid, said in a report she is due to make to the UN Security Council today would be very somber and perhaps dark. She described the situation in the territory as a significant catastrophe. The death toll from the floods that have hit Central Europe over the weekend has risen, with more casualties recorded in the Czech Republic, Poland and Austria. In the Czech Republic, 1 person drowned in a stream close to the town of Bruntal in the northeast of the country, while 7 people are still missing. 4 people are known to have died in Poland. And in Austria, 2 people aged 70 and 80 have died in the northeast of the country. Although conditions have stabilized in some parts of Central Europe, others are bracing themselves for more disruption and danger. Meanwhile, hundreds of thousands of people have been evacuated as a powerful typhoon made landfall near China's financial hub of Shanghai. Typhoon Bebinca hit at about 7:30 a.m. local time in the coastal area of Lingang, a new city in Shanghai's east. It is the strongest storm to hit Shanghai in 75 years, according to Chinese state media. As a precaution, more than 400,000 people in the Shanghai metropolitan area were relocating by Sunday evening. Shanghai's 25 million residents have been advised to stay at home as the storm hits the city. A court battle to determine the future of Rupert Murdoch's media empire and a £14.9 billion family trust has begun. The case pits the 93-year-old Mr. Murdoch against 3 of his eldest children over who will gain the most voting shares and power to control News Corporation and Fox News when the billionaire dies. It has been reported that Mr. Murdoch wanted to amend a family trust created in 1999 so that his son Lachlan could take control without interference from his siblings Prudence, Elizabeth and James. The famous family was one of the inspirations behind the hugely popular TV series Succession, something the Murdochs have always refused to comment on. Tito Jackson, an original member of the Jackson 5 pop group and brother of the late Michael Jackson, has died at the age of 70. An official cause of death is yet to be determined. Tito performed in the famous ensemble with brothers Jackie, Jermaine, Marlon and Michael, who died in 2009. He was recently in Munich ahead of a performance that the group were due to give. And Britain's Prince Harry has turned 40 in California, thousands of miles away from his royal roots. However, there were supposed olive branches from the royal family back in Britain. First, a social media post from Buckingham Palace wishing him a very happy 40th birthday. Then, just over an hour later, the same message was reposted by the accounts of the Prince and Princess of Wales. He marked the day with a private celebration at his home in Southern California, where he lives with his wife Meghan and their 2 children. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. The president of the Confederation of African Football, CAF, Patrice Motsepe, has confirmed the 8th African Nations Championship will be held from February the 1st to the 28th, 2025 in Kenya, Tanzania and Uganda. The biennial African Nations Championship CHAN is restricted to locally based players, ruling out big names footballers who move to Europe. It has been a long wait, but independent hearing into Manchester City's alleged 115 breaches of English Premier League financial regulations has begun earlier today. In what is being described in British media as a sports trial of the century, a 3-person commission will sift through reams of evidence for an estimated 10 weeks, with a verdict expected sometime before the end of the current season. Meanwhile, our football law and finance expert Stephen Paulson says it might be difficult for a panel to find the English champions guilty of the most serious breaches. City's alleged breaches of rules relating to the provision of accurate financial records go back to 2009-2010 campaign. And World Athletics Chief Sebastian Coe and Zimbabwe Sports Minister Kirsty Coventry are among 7 candidates for next year's International Olympic Committee presidency election. IOC Vice President Juan Antonio Samaranch, son of the late former IOC President, International Cycling Chief David Lapatian, Prince Faisal Al Hussein of Jordan are all contesting for the position. That Sports is back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Chris. And the main news again. The president has visited Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. President Bola Tinubu commiserated with the Shehu of Borno and assured IDPs of the federal government's assistance. The United Arab Emirates has donated 50 tons of food supplies to Nigeria. UAE Ambassador to Nigeria, Salim Al-Shamsi, says the Emirate is committed to supporting the nation during crises and disasters. A Muslim faithful in Lagos have joined their counterparts across Nigeria and the world to celebrate Eid-el-Maulud, the birthday of Prophet Muhammad. I wish all Muslim faithful a happy celebration. Now that's the news. I'm Anne Nwawadu. Good night.